Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. I'm Deputy Chief Aaron Hughley. I oversee our investigations division and also serve as our agency's public information officer. Standing here with me is Southfield Police Chief Elvin B. Barron, Executive Lieutenant Teresa Young, Detective Lieutenant Mustafa Beasy, and joining us from Southfield Public Schools, Chief of Staff James Jackson. Today, Chief Barron will inform the public of an arrest that took place at Southfield Arts and Technology High School here in the city of Southfield. The incident occurred on Monday, September 16, 2024 at approximately 10 a.m. Southfield Police School Resource Officers were notified by school security that a student was in possession of a firearm on school property. The student was immediately located in a bathroom and arrested. A handgun was found and removed from his waistband. I ask that you please hold all of your questions until the conclusion of the press briefing and turn off or mute any cell phones or other electronic devices. Also, please wait to be escorted back down to the main lobby. A press packet is available on the back table, which includes a USB drive of all files presented here today. And also for record-keeping purposes, we ask that you complete our media sign-in sheet. And without any further delay, Chief Barron.
All right, thank you, Deputy Chief. And as I always say, thank our media friends for being here. When these type incidents occur in our city, we're going to continue to give you a prompt response. That way the community is aware of what happened and then what the police department's next steps are when it comes to accountability. So as the Deputy Chief mentioned, this incident did occur yesterday roughly around 10 a.m. At Southfield A&T High School, which is located in the 24,000 block of Lasher Road. And what I want to start off is commending the students of the high school, because a tip came in to the school security that this young man was possibly armed with a handgun, which sparked an immediate reaction from school security to notify the school resource officers who are assigned to this particular school. Those school resource officers acted very quickly. They were able to respond to the classroom where he was noted to be during that time of day. And when they discovered that he was not in classroom, they began a systematic search of the building and did ultimately find him in the male's bathroom. They were able to make an approach to this young man. There was a brief struggle over that weapon. They were able to get him to the ground, place him in handcuffs, and then we were able to arrest him and transport him to Children's Village, is where juveniles are commonly housed during the juvenile process. One thing I do want to highlight is that this gun was loaded, fully loaded, and there was a round in the chamber. So very significant to this investigation when it comes to the safety of our police officers, the safety of our students. One thing I do want to note as I get into the rest of my remarks is our preliminary investigation reveals that at this time there's no suggestion that he had any intentions on using that weapon to harm the school. Again, it's a preliminary information. But what we've gathered is this young man, again, 15 years old, is a resident of the city of Detroit. And what we learned by our initial interviews is that he has some type of conflict with individuals in Detroit and in other school districts, where according to him, he carries this gun for protection. But let me be very clear about that excuse when it comes to carrying weapons of any kind for a juvenile, in this case, but also for adults. Carrying a gun on school property is unforgivable. I'm going to say it again, it's unforgivable. There's too many things happening across our country when it comes to these weapons and being in possession of people who are irresponsible. In this case, even though there was no suggestion that he was going to use the gun to bring harm to those students, what about accidental shootings? What about the fact that even as recent as the other day, individuals arguing, and then that argument escalates into a shooting? Why? Because the weapon is in their possession. So these are the reasons we talk about no tolerance on school property, where we talk about the importance of properly securing your weapon. So now your next question would be, where did he get this weapon from? So our detectives have been working this case starting from last night to this morning. We were able to track down the origin of that weapon to a home in the city of Detroit, where what we believe is that Our suspect was recently at this home visiting his friends, and then he was able to find this weapon and then steal it from that residence. We made contact with the owner of that weapon. He was surprised that learned his weapon was the one that was confiscated in this incident. His plans are to, if he hasn't already done it, was report this weapon stolen with the Detroit Police Department, and we'll go from there with the next layer of investigation. Because again, a student in possession of a handgun in our schools is very serious. And so he's been charged. He was arraigned today at 1:30 by the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. He was charged with carrying a concealed weapon, count 1. Count 2, possession of a concealed weapon while in a gun-free zone. And count 3, resisting and obstructing. And you will see that transpire on the video that we're going to show. Also, he was given no bond, remanded to Children's Village as this investigation and as this incident travels through the juvenile criminal justice system. And so I do want to, spend a little bit more time before we show the video, talking about our students in this case. You got to continue to give them credit. And I don't know how many. I just know that a student or students gained information that this individual had a weapon and had the courage, despite all these elements that distract individuals from bringing information to law enforcement. That did not happen in this case. So we're going to continue to commend the students of the school for bringing it to our attention, because what could have happened? How long could he have been carrying this weapon before he encountered someone that he has conflict with, and maybe that weapon being introduced into that conflict? So these are the reasons why we, again, encourage our children in the schools to, if you see something, say something, report it. In this case, it worked. And again, we are satisfied with the outcome. But again, accountability is our next steps. So what I want to do now is shift to the video. If we can kill the lights, what you're going to see is video from the school resource officers. And it'll be 2 different angles that you're going to see, so you get a full picture of exactly what happened and how we brought this individual into custody. And the sound will kick in momentarily. turn the lights on, please. And I'll wait till you guys get adjusted. So the weapon that we were able to confiscate, as you can see in the video, is a .40 caliber handgun. Also, you saw in the video both Southfield school resource officers and school security. That particular high school, there are 3 school resource officers generally assigned there, and also 9 security officers. Being the largest high school in the city of Southfield with the most activity, we do, as an agency, plan accordingly to have a oversight through our police department. And so with that, I open up the floor for any questions. Yes, sir.
Thanks for doing this. 2 quick questions. If a report comes in that there's a gun in that school, was there a lockdown called by the school?
Yes, so once the information came into school security, the school did put measures in place for a lockdown, and then which allowed for the Southfield police officers to move very quickly in identifying this individual.
I know it's Detroit, but you probably have to know if the owner of the gun, that gun wasn't secure, correct? Right. And is that owner going to face a charge for unsecured handgun?
Yeah, so that's still under investigation. We'll determine, how it was stored and exactly what happened, and then based on that information, we'll be able to move to the next step. So right now, I'm not have enough information on how it was stored, but we will look into any potential charges for violation of the proper storage laws. Yes, sir.
Chief, was the 15-year-old, does he have any priors? Has he been arrested before?
Well, he's a juvenile, so he's been detained before, for what I've learned, for possession of a stolen motor vehicle.
Can we ask Mr. Jackson a question?
I'm sorry?
Can we ask Mr. Jackson a question?
Oh, absolutely. Sir?
I'm watching that, Mr. Jackson. So quick, so professional. What are your thoughts about taking that threat out of the school so quickly?
Well, let me just say that, as the chief mentioned, it was a combined effort from students to our security officers to the SROs. When we encourage our students to see something, say something, this is how it works, and we commend the students for taking that step and being courageous enough to say something, to alert a school official, in this case our security officers, who immediately went to our school resource officers and was able to address the situation. We are very grateful for everyone's role in bringing this to a quick conclusion.
Thank you, sir.
And you also mentioned that you're looking for more information to this incident. Can you shed some light on that?
Well, anytime there's a weapon in the school, we want to look through any technology may be available. I mentioned to you a preliminary investigation. That's what it is. We're going by what we gather immediately, but we got to do layers to make sure there was no intent on harming the schools. So this investigation is far from over. We'll continue to look at this particular student, friends, and then if information changes that would suggest a different motive, and then we'll certainly hold that accountability and then advise our community and certainly the media.
Chief, I'm curious, when do you think that gun was stolen from that friend's home? I know it was recent, but a week ago. I'm just wondering, do you think he'd been carrying that to and from school without anyone knowing?
Yes, what we learned within the week or so is when this incident took place at that home. So it's a possibility he's been carrying it to and from for a time frame. Certainly can't confirm that, but based on the fact that the gun was stolen recently and then days had elapsed before this came about, I do believe there's a high probability that he was carrying that gun the entire time.
Chief, I know you're still investigating, but you said it wasn't for use within the school, but it was in the waistband and it was ready for use. Anything could have happened.
Yeah, and typically that's how many people carry a weapon, whether they are proper gun owners or not. They generally carry them in the waistband area. Certainly in this case, it wasn't with a holster. That would be the proper way of carrying, but rather just stuck into the pants. But again, typically that's how many individuals carry their handguns.
Are you looking at potential accomplices or anybody else that's involved?
Yeah, so again, we'll see how the investigation proceeds, if we gain information that there was something more than what I reported, then we'll certainly look to hold others accountable. But again, for the interest of what we do know, there is no evidence that suggests any threat to the school, but rather conflicts in the neighborhood coming to and from school. And even those conflicts, what we're told, are not with current Southfield A&T students, but rather students from either the neighborhood or other school districts.
Any protocol changes at the school, perhaps, when it comes to moving forward here?
Well, it's always a debrief on these things. And so I, along with the superintendent, her staff, the police department, our school resource officers, standing here is our lieutenant who oversees our school resource officers. We always get together and debrief. Certainly that will take place. And if anything can be done differently or better, we'll definitely make those upgrades.
And this is the first time something like this has happened?
You know, maybe about 3 years or so ago. Matter of fact, if I would remind you, back when Oxford incident tragedy happened, the very next day at one of our schools, a student was found in possession of a handgun at that time. Certainly it was a similar mindset of, again, carrying it for protection. There was no incident, but it does speak to the gravity that children, young adults are getting in possession of these weapons, which is a reminder to us all to properly secure our weapons so they don't end up in the schools.
Are there metal detectors in the schools right now, or what's the current protocol with coming in, your bags, or any kind of?
Right. Yeah, so the Southfield Public Schools are not equipped with metal detectors. What I've learned through talking to the superintendent and also the chief of staff is that is something that they have in their plans for the upcoming school years. And in fact, according to them, that process has been expedited to ensure that that measure is in place.
Are his parents cooperating, and if so, what are they saying about all of this?
What I'm told is that the parents have cooperated thus far. Again, certainly, more investigation to take place, more requests will be coming in to those parents for additional information. But what I'm told, the parents are cooperative at this time.
Mr. Jackson, could you expand on the metal detectors? Do you have any more information on, the process of putting them in and what that, when we can expect to see them?
So we don't have a specific timeline for it, but we have. School safety is one of our top priorities, and through our capital bond that was recently passed, looking at our security infrastructure has been a priority. And so our plan was over the next several years as we institute our infrastructure upgrades to enhance our security measures. As a result of recent events, we look to escalate that timeline, but I don't have specifics on that timeline just yet.
How many students at the high school?
There are approximately 1,500.
Where does the high school draw students from? I know that oftentimes city boundaries, municipal boundaries don't match up with school district boundaries, but this student was from Detroit. It's a different county. Can you explain that to us, like what type of school it is and where it draws students from? So, Southfield Public Schools currently, we enroll students from throughout Oakland County. There are certain situations, there are certain criteria for students outside of Oakland County to enroll. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any more questions? All right, again, thank you all for being here and appreciate you putting this word out on behalf of the Southfield Police Department and the Southfield Public School District. Thank you.
Thank you.